My name is Kale, and I am a creative producer at MasterClass, and I've had the pleasure of producing Bobbi's class alongside her and an incredible team. Joining us today, and I'm sure she needs no introduction, is Bobbi Brown, a world-renowned makeup artist, best-selling author, and serial entrepreneur. Bobbi, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, it's so nice. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Of course, and before we just jump in, I wanted to say that, I'm not someone who wears makeup. And so in working on your class, I had to put myself in the shoes of the students who would be watching, and I got to learn from you. And I think that I got to see how much about makeup is about choice. You get to decide how much is just right for you. And there's so many different styles out there, but your style is really simple, right?
Well, my style is so much about me because I really do believe that people are beautiful without makeup, and makeup is a way to help you feel more beautiful, help you feel confident. I am not someone that likes to cover up and change people's faces. I like to embrace and use makeup as a way just to make people look healthier and ultimately that makes you feel better.
Right, and that's so important right now. I mean, the reality is that so many people are working from home at the moment, and that means that people are either alone or with their families. And so I was wondering, and I think this is a great place for us to really start, is why should people be wearing makeup right now? What could it do for us?
Well, if you think about it, some people wear makeup because for other people. I've always worn makeup for myself. For some reason, it instantly makes me feel better. And clearly I don't wear a lot. I mean, I'm doing this live. I don't know how many thousands of people are watching. And I really didn't put a lot on, but I put just enough on that I felt awake. I felt healthier. And for me, it's so much about moisture, how much moisture I put on my face and a little bit of blush, that it makes a big difference how I feel. I look in the mirror once and then I'm done. But I carry those feelings with me all day.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And I think it's so easy to look in the mirror. And I know in my case, the things I maybe don't like about myself or make me feel insecure are some of the first things I see. And I think using makeup as a tool to kind of decide for myself what's going to make me feel better is really powerful and empowering.
Well, us women are lucky because we could do things like color our hair. We could, which I'll get into in a second. That's probably the worst part about, staying home is missing my hairdresser. But, we could put concealer on under our eyes. We could put blush on. You could throw lipstick on. And yes, if you're someone that likes to contour and believes that you look better, you can do whatever you want with it. It's makeup, and it just instantly lifts your mood and makes you feel better. Whether you're doing a Zoom call at home, whether you are just by yourself in your apartment, it's amazing what a little bit does. Even putting on little teeny earrings makes a difference.
And, I'm so glad that you referenced our Zoom call. We sent out an alert that we would be hosting this live session with you to give people a chance to submit their own questions. And we received so many questions. And one MasterClass member enrolled in your class named Kathy had a really great one. And she said that, so many of our meetings, events, and even times with friends are being moved online right now. And so she wanted to ask you, what could we be doing to look our best on camera?
Well, I've been doing a lot of Zoom calls. I'm on, some meetings with some very young, beautiful people that just seem to wake up in the morning and the hair just kind of falls in place. And others have hair in a bun and a ponytail and craziness. And it's actually, I think a very calming time because everyone could be real. So maybe you see people dressed up, but now everyone is at home. Sometimes there's babies screaming, there's wild hair. But you know what? Do what makes you comfortable. I am wearing my Lululemon tights and I'm wearing a navy sweater. I always wear navy sweater. People think I wear black, but I wear navy. And as far as makeup, I have moisturizer on. I have a little concealer under my eyes. I have some bronzer on my face and lip. And I usually do my eyebrows and a little bit of mascara. And that's it. That's it. But when you guys shot me, I had Hannah and Susanna doing my makeup for camera. It was way more makeup. But for Zoom, you don't need as much.
And how long did your routine take you today?
Oh, 2 seconds. So I'm going to just show you a couple things. Now, probably the most important thing I have is this brown shadow. that I'm not, you know, talking about brands right now, but if you are a woman with dark hair of a certain age, this is the most amazing thing, because guess what? You could just go, when you open up the Zoom, you see it, and you could just go fill in your gray, your part. It comes in all different colors. So, and you can also use it as eyeshadow, by the way. And then when I'm doing my makeup and it just doesn't look right, I mean, we've been in the house, sometimes I just take a little bit of a moisturizer, and the trick is you put it on your hands, and even after your makeup's done, you just kind of tap it on your cheek, and I tap it all over, and it just kind of brings moisture to the skin. And don't forget your neck. And honestly, all I really use right now is either that brown shadow or a plain brown shadow, some kind of a bronzer, and I'm using right now kind of a pinky bronzer. And the trick with the bronzer, guys, is when you put it on, blow, and when you put it on, start with your neck, do a little bit, smile, little on your forehead, and when you're doing your own blush, the trick is look in the mirror and just blend it in, because you want it to look like it's part of your skin, and that's really important. And honestly, that's all I do. I put a little bit of gloss on my lips, and sometimes when I'm really feeling tired, I'll take something that has some luminosity in it, which is just a little bit of sheen. I don't even know if it feel different. I don't know if you look different, but you feel different. And that is it, honestly. But I'm also lucky I wear glasses, so it kind of hides a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this is a great opportunity to really set the record straight about something. I mean, there's a lot of myths about nude makeup, that it's washed out, that it's beige, and I don't think that's the case.
It's not. Nude makeup is actually the color of your skin. But for some reason, nude makeup became beige, it became washed out, it became one beige for everybody. And we are all different skin colors. I mean, I don't care if you're, black, I don't care if you're Latino, I don't care if you're white. We are all a range of colors, and we've got to find colors that are right for our skin. And for me, the trick to everyday makeup is finding colors that are the color of your skin. It's not that complicated once you find the right things.
And I mean, I think a lot of people might wonder, how do you find those right colors?
Not the easiest thing. I mean, for me, it's easy, but you have to make sure, first of all, you start with your foundation. If you wear foundation, and I'd really love people during this time of being home to try not to wear foundation, or even use foundation just to spot correct, to, if there's any kind of little darkness, you can cover it. But the only way to wear foundation, I cover this like crazy in the class, is on the side of the face if it blends in. And most foundation on the market, unfortunately, has some pinky in it, so it doesn't look natural. So you'll see it on the side of the face. And that's why sometimes people have to mix their own with a few different colors. But once you put it on, it should just blend in. And I don't think people need foundation all over, because then it just looks like you're wearing a mask. And that's just not my opinion. It's not the most beautiful aesthetic. I love people's skin. I love healthy skin.
Right, and I think, once you find the colors that work for you, you don't need a whole bunch of products, because there are so many out there on the market.
Yes.
I think you've shown in your class, you kind of allude to a number of different tricks, like you mentioned already, using eyeshadow in your hair when you need a touch up. Can you share a few more, maybe tips and tricks like that?
Sure. There's so many. Lipstick, by the way, you buy a lipstick, it might not be the right color for you. Maybe you ordered a same color a friend had, but you could take it and you can share it down. You could stain it on your lips. You could rub your fingers together and put it on your cheeks. For shoots, we put it on people's eyes. I don't recommend that to people because it sometimes could get in your eyes, so it might not feel good. But you can use things for different ways. Bronzers, I don't see why you can't put on your eyes. It's sometimes the color is too orange, so depending what color you have, you could try it that way. And in a pinch, guys, you could take even the bronzer, mix it with a little bit of gloss, and stain it on your lips. So, there's many things you could use different ways.
Right, and I think, in your class, you have a really great lesson called the 1 Minute Makeup. And I think, that routine is helping people to get up with a busy schedule and go to work. And for many right now, that kind of sense of routine looks very different. And so I was wondering, what does your 1-minute makeup look like when you're working from home?
Well, most people's 1-minute makeup is my 30-second makeup. So usually moisturizer goes on first. You throw in some concealer under your eyes, your foundation around your nose, blush, bronzer on your cheek, mascara, brush your brows up, and you could use eyeshadow for eyebrows. You could use like a little teeny brush on brow, and kind of you're done. It's not the smoky eye. It's not the jeweled eye. It's not it's not even eyeshadow, really. I mean, people don't realize if you put mascara on and fill in your brows, sometimes you don't need eyeshadow. You can add a liner sometimes.
Right.
Okay, we have a visitor.
When we're live and working from home, that's going to happen.
He's got clothes on. I've heard there's some, people walking around in shorts, boxer shorts.
Yeah, well, that's all good and very real, just like you said. And, I think a moment of the class that I really loved is actually in your introduction. And you told a really personal story about falling in love with makeup by watching your mom. And I was thinking a lot about how, I've already said I don't wear any makeup. And I think a lot of men, myself included, maybe have grown up and only seen the women in our lives wearing makeup. And so I wanted to ask you, from your opinion, what can makeup do for men? And can you maybe share some grooming tips for us as well?
Sure. Well, actually, some men do wear makeup. There are a lot of men that are makeup artists that always have makeup on. I think they got into makeup because they felt better once they put it on. I personally don't like makeup on men's skin. I don't think they need it. But, makeup is one thing. Skincare and grooming is another thing. So guys have to groom. And, you've got to trim your beard. You've got to maybe put some moisturizer in your beard. They now have all things on the market, to take care of your beard, though you could probably just use what you use on your skin. And men need a little bit of eye cream. Men need moisturizer and, grooming. And that's, in my opinion, that's it. I've been lucky enough to do men's makeup and grooming for some celebrities in my career as a makeup artist. I mean, I even got to do Keith Richards with the black smoky eye. So I've been really lucky. I've got to work with men's makeup that are being photographed. But in real life, guys don't need it.
I really agree. I mean, it goes back to choice and what makes each person feel comfortable.
Rock and roll, by the way, yeah, men wear makeup. There's no question. They do smoke, they'll do a pencil in their eye. They'll do it. It's fine. I couldn't imagine going into a meeting and having a man greet me in a suit with makeup on. I don't think it would work, or it would set me back. And maybe it'll change. Maybe I'm old-fashioned that way, but I don't think it's necessary.
Right. And I think that your class speaks to both everyday people who are wanting to use makeup, excuse me, to feel better about themselves, and also professional and aspiring makeup artists. And a lot of artists right now, excuse me.
Your water. Okay, 1 second for water. Yep.
Well, basically right now, because so many people are stuck at home, they might not be able to physically go out and work. And so I wanted to talk to you about, what can these artists do who are looking for ways to work virtually?
Well, that is a really good question. I am someone that supports my fellow artists. And, I'm not even talking about getting paid at the moment, but there are ways that artists could continue working, whether it's working on your Instagram, putting your photos up there, working on your website. So when things do get back to normal, you'll be able to have something that you're really proud of. Certainly make connections on your social media. And I actually spoke to a woman earlier who works at a department store and is feeling, such a loss that she's missing her customers. I said, why don't you go and do a class online for your customers, and they could they could follow along at home. I mean, this is the time for all entrepreneurs out there business online. I know chefs that are having, cooking lessons. So I think that so you just got to keep doing things. And, we don't know if this is going to be 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months. We have no idea. But the more you keep occupied and busy and work on your craft and you work on your positivity and your mood, it really is going to pay off in the long run.
And I think that's a really great point. And what are some things that you're doing to really, keep practicing your craft during this period?
Well, it's really funny. I don't know what I'm so busy with, but I get phone calls every day about doing things online. An hour ago, I did an online talk for someone. I have magazines from Harper's Bazaar to Elle India that have reached out. I've done, with Haven's Kitchen, which is a cooking school in New York. We did an Instagram Live where I opened up my kitchen and they taught me how to cook my leftovers. So there's so many things out there, and I'm watching a lot of things. You're on your Instagram and all of a sudden this one's going live, that one's going live. And, there's a lot to learn right now. And one of the things I am so grateful to be able to have produced a masterclass, because a lot of people now that hadn't heard about it are they're texting me or emailing me or DMing me and saying, I finally had the time to see the masterclass and I learned so much. So I think, this is an amazing time for everyone out there to, deep dive in those amazing master lessons.
Well, that's really special for me to hear. So thank you for that. And I think your class is really something to be proud of. It shows people that there are options. There are so many different ways to achieve so many different looks. And you really do break it down step by step.
I'm basically a simple person, and I like to teach simple things to people. And for those artists out there or women out there that have a different aesthetic and like a different look, my advice would be learn the basics. And you know what? Relearn the basics. I never stop learning. There's always new ways for me to figure out how to do things. There's new ways that I learned from other makeup artists out there. There's so many products on the market that are new and different that are really interesting. And so it's really the time to go back, learn the basics. And then once you learn those basics, you can go apply anything you want and experiment, with any of your looks. I showed some experimenting on our masterclass, how to just let yourself go. I took it a little too far, but we did it.
And I think, to follow up on this idea of experimentation, for artists out there who are trying to build a portfolio, what do you think makes a great portfolio for a working makeup artist today? And how can they use this time of experimentation to make it even better?
Well, for me, a good portfolio is someone that shows diversity, someone that could take someone and make them look like they wear absolutely no makeup. Take someone in different situations, studio, daylight, all the different ways that you could show people different light, and show a range, show an editorial side, show, what you did on a regular person, what you did on a model. And a portfolio should be, if you are someone that hasn't done magazine work, I don't care if you do an Instagram. I don't care if you create an Instagram of all your different looks, but show diversity and show scale, different skin colors, different, changing people's faces before and afters. There's nothing I like better than a split screen with no makeup and with the finished makeup. That really shows talent.
Yeah, and for kind of everyday people that might have a preference, I believe you do, to actually go into makeup counters and talk to people and try different makeups. If you're ordering makeup online, do you have any tips for what to look for to find high quality makeup?
Well, it's interesting because I'm sure many people, including myself, has seen things on websites or Instagram and order it, and then it arrives and it doesn't look so good. So first of all, you could send it back, number one. But number two, it's hit or miss, but there's so many great things offered at reasonable prices now. There's really, with the new indie brands, there's so many different price points. There's the high-end price points that hopefully you'll get to go back into a department store and touch things, or a Sephora or an Ulta where you can actually touch things or reorder what you like. But basically you have to kind of, know what color range you're in. So it's not always that easy. It's easier to order skincare, but there's nothing like being able to touch it.
Absolutely. And I want to take a moment. For those of you just joining us, this is MasterClass Live, a new series of events on the MasterClass platform where members can interact with MasterClass instructors and outside experts to take the learning beyond our video streaming classes, workbooks, and the app. In light of current events, these sessions are going to be made available for everyone, members and non-members, to access. Today, we're here with Bobbi Brown, who her class is teaching makeup and beauty. So Bobbi, I want to take a moment to say, you joined the MasterClass family in November. What's been going on since then outside of current circumstances, but what have you been working on?
Well, my experience doing the MasterClass was absolutely unbelievable. When I got the call from you guys and asked me to do it, I couldn't believe it. And working with your teams, I've never worked with a production team like MasterClass, I will say. And the amount of talent and people that came, and honestly, we spent 5 days together, and we're like old friends. I mean, you deep dive, every single professor, every single teacher that does MasterClass, you have to trust, because you just throw yourself there, and you just have to trust the people that are creating this masterpiece, basically. So since I did the MasterClass, my social has skyrocketed. Comments from people asking for more, more lessons has been great. And so for me, it's been really exciting because yes, I am an entrepreneur. Yes, I have different businesses, but basically I'm a makeup artist. What I love to do is be in a studio with my team, my posse, and create things. So it's really given me this, excitement to be able to continue my craft. So I'm very grateful to MasterClass. I'm also, working on Evolution 18, which is a wellness brand. And for me, beauty, health, wellness is something that really works together, because I've always said for the past, 25 years, the better you take care of yourself on the inside, the better you'll look on the outside, and you won't need as much makeup and you will just look better. So for me, it goes hand in hand.
Right. And can you tell us a little bit more about what is Evolution 18 and what does it offer for people?
Evolution 18 is a wellness brand. As I said, they are supplements, and they're everything from collagen to hyaluronic acid. We even have a CBD gummy, which has been very helpful. It's called Chill, one of my favorite products. We have another one called De-Bloat, which actually says on the package helps you fit into a little black dress. So a lot of these things I kind of made for myself, but I know that, like my women that I work with my customers, myself, my friends, my sister, we all share the same kind of issues. And guys too. I mean, guys get bloated too if they had too much fun the night before. So I put these really great ingredients together that really are supplements to a healthy diet, because now I am a health coach. I went back to school to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition after I left the brand that I founded 3.5 years ago, and I got my degree as a health coach, and kind of gone full circle from being in the beauty business to being in the wellness business, and I feel like I'm back being a makeup artist, so I'm pretty happy.
I really love that, and I think it's very true that makeup and health and wellness all go hand in hand. And I know when we were on set together, we talked quite a bit about health and wellness, and it's sprinkled throughout your class. But I know you talk a lot about how important staying hydrated is, exercise, going outside, things that seem to be really hard for us to do right now if we're taking care of ourselves. Do you have any thoughts on how we can be keeping ourselves healthy in this time?
Yes, it's funny. One thing people always complain about is time. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to see my friends. I don't have time. Well, this is the one time we actually have time. So if you have not been drinking enough water, start now. I struggle with it. I push myself. You know, I just pulled out from my cabinet this bottle. It's called Hydrate. And it, like, you know, every time you drink it and finish it, it'll tell me on my device. I have lemon in there right now. I have a little bit of stevia, so it tastes like a lemonade. Sometimes I put oranges in. Drinking water is the key, and moving your body. I don't care if you walk slow. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you hold a plank. I don't care if you know, whatever you do. There's no excuses now. And you know what? Turn on your TV, open up your computer, go to YouTube. There are such wonderful yoga classes, fitness classes, and just, you know what? Just like Meggie says, just do it. It's going to make you feel better. And you know what? Guess what? Then you've got other things to do. You've got your housework to do. You've got, you know, so many things. So if you don't keep yourself healthy and feeling good, it's going to be really easy to be in a funk, really easy. And call your friends.
Yeah, so important just to connect and be connected to people. And this is a great chance to kind of go back to people you haven't talked to in a while and check in.
Could you imagine if this happened in another time where we didn't have the connection?
Right.
You know, there's no excuses now.
Yeah, and we're more spread out than we've probably ever been. And so keeping in touch with our friends and family is harder to do, but almost easier too, because it's possible.
Yeah, and having real conversations instead of your normal text conversations. Like I would say, even if you just with one person a day, just call someone that you know and love and just didn't have time to really spend with them.
And so, Bobbi, I referenced before that we put an alert out to the MasterClass community asking for questions. And I have a bunch of questions that I'd love to run past you, get your thoughts on now. We might not be able to get through all of them today, but I'm so excited to have this discussion with you. You actually started to discuss this first one earlier. It's about foundation. And Kirsty asks, can foundation be good for your skin, or should we always try to minimize the use of it?
Well, foundation isn't bad for your skin. I might not like the look of most foundation on the skin unless it's something that really suits your skin and looks natural. As long as you wash your face at night, there's nothing wrong with wearing foundation. And guess what? If you forget one night, it's really not a big deal. You just wash it the next day. So, you know, foundation is fine to wear. Just make sure you take it off at night.
Right, and I know in your class that you mentioned kind of the importance of taking a break from makeup too, and just getting used to seeing yourself without makeup on.
Honestly, I think it's a really great thing to do. You know, whether it's the weekends, whether it's a day, you just put your hair in a ponytail, put a face oil on. You know, you guys know if you saw my masterclass, I am a really big fan of apricot kernel oil that is it's under $10 that you can get it at your, you know, grocery store, your health food store, but you let your skin breathe, and that's really important too. And, you know, and you've got to, self-care doesn't have to be over the top. You could also take the almond oil, put it on your hands. You could put a little bit in your hair. You could definitely put it on your feet and put some socks on. Hydration, you know, from the inside and the outside really does make you feel better. It makes you look better.
Absolutely. And kind of staying on this topic of healthy skin, you know, a lot of students sent in questions about how to cover up fine lines and wrinkles. And I think there's two questions here. The first being, you know, what would you say to people who feel like they need to remove these lines to feel beautiful? And
well, as your 62-year-old beauty expert, and I spent a lot of my time looking at pictures of myself, both on Zoom, on video, you know, all over the internet. It's amazing what the right lighting does. So there's some times where I'm just like, oh my God. And then I realize, you know what? I am 62. I am healthy. I want to look like a healthy version. For me personally, I'm not someone that shoots things in my face. You know, I'm not opposed or against any choices anyone makes. I have chosen to color my 100% gray hair, but I am making peace with the lines in my face. That saying, if I am not hydrated and I don't have the right moisturizer on my skin, my lines look bad. If I am hydrated and have the right cream on, my lines don't bother me. So, being rested is everything. And think about yourself on a vacation, how good you look when you're on a vacation. Try to bring that up in your head.
Right. And when it comes to, makeup that I could put on to minimize these fine lines and wrinkles, what would you recommend?
Well, there are a lot of blur products on the market. I don't always think they actually blur. They're just kind of, a little, sometimes they do, but I really do find that moisturizer and oil, like a teeny bit of oil, will help plump the lines. So that really works a lot. And so it's really moisture that's going to make the lines softer to look at. And there's nothing that's going to get rid of them, besides Botox. And, sometimes people get Botox and they look natural, normal, and fine. And other times people get Botox and they don't.
Right. And I know, people come up to you and say all the time that I just don't know what to do with my makeup anymore. And maybe the things that they used to do don't work for them anymore. How should people be evolving their makeup over time?
Well, I think that a lot of things have changed, and I think they're going to continue to change. More and more people are using less makeup, and more people are using more makeup. So, there is the world out there that does like full coverage, contouring, individual lashes, false lashes, more glamorous than I am, and that's okay. So the trick is to find what makes you feel your most beautiful. I have no judgment for someone that, looks in the mirror and is happy with what they look like. And it should be, different. I am someone that I'm comfortable in my skin, especially, recently more comfortable to wear less makeup. So really the trick in life is to find what makes you comfortable. And people always say, well, how do I become confident? If you're comfortable in your skin, that's how you become confident. And yes, do I wish I had my hairdresser here to give me like the best blowout, and have my stylist there to give me the best outfit for camera? But I don't right now, and it's okay.
And, I know you mentioned contouring a minute ago, and in the class you touch on it briefly, and you share some really personal stories about when you've had makeovers done and they've contoured you in different ways, and that didn't make you feel like your best self. And Genevieve is a member of MasterClass who's seen your class and was really curious about, why you do feel the way you do about contouring, and what it can do for people and why you don't love it.
Well, it's funny because I'm not a fan of telling someone that there's something wrong with their face. So, changing the shape of your nose, I find that if you're going to contour it, I'm going to see it on your face. I'm going to see the brown. And you know what? Why does everyone have to have this perfect little nose? So, but that's saying if someone wants to put something on it because it makes them feel better, that's fine. And I've worked with many actresses that I have not contoured, and they've asked me, could you please? And so I do it, and I show them a mirror, and they say, thank you, that's so much better. I did it so lightly, I'm not even sure if it was there. But it's important as a makeup artist to make people feel comfortable with what they look like. But I don't contour, but sometimes I will use bronzer, just a little bit under the neck, because right now that's kind of my point that drives me crazy. And by making it a little bit, and I don't have to blend it. So I'm choosing a color that you could just put on. So am I contouring? I don't know. Could I, use it to kind of contour my face? I could, but what for? I'd much rather enhance and bring out, the cheeks instead of trying to make cheekbones that aren't there.
Right, and it makes me think back to, in your masterclass, you shared a story from early on in your professional makeup career where you were doing Jerry Hall's makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I think you kind of learned what worked for Jerry was not something that you had you said, I think, the talent for at that time. Could you share a little bit of that story?
Sure. I was a very young makeup artist, and I got hired to do a cover of British Cosmopolitan with the uber supermodel Jerry Hall. Well, you can imagine I was a nervous wreck, and I packed all my things. I arrived at the shoot. She could not have been any nicer. She was married to Mick at the time, and I did her makeup. And luckily, she had her own false eyelashes on because I was not very good at false eyelashes. I did her makeup. It probably took about 45 minutes. We talked the whole time, and I showed her a mirror, and she said, "Oh, wow, thank you. It's so pretty. Can I just make a few changes?" And I said, "Sure." She says, "Can you hand me that? Could you hand me that?" And all of a sudden, she redid her whole face. Like, instead of me being, "Oh my God, what did I do wrong?" and be upset, I realized it was an opportunity to learn what she was doing. I did not have the ability to contour the way she did it. It was masterful. I mean, she had worked with, famous makeup artists like Wade Bandy and all these other guys back then. And I'll post the picture. She looks contoured, but beautiful, but certainly not where my aesthetic was. And every time I did someone's makeup, famous or not, I would show a mirror and I would adjust what they wanted adjusted. Sometimes it's an eyebrow that one of the supermodels wants adjusted. Sometimes, they're like, "Oh, it's fine. Oh, it's fine." They don't even look. They don't care. Isabella Rossellini, "Oh, it's beautiful." She didn't care. She knew she looked beautiful.
And, in your class, you have a chapter specifically for aspiring makeup artists, and you do share like how important it is to show a mirror to your model and have conversations. And, if you're a model having your makeup done, it's okay to pull the makeup artist aside and have conversations about what you like, and maybe if something isn't working, how to fix it. Is that right?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, communicating with someone is, it's a skill and it's a gift because, someone has to be able to tell you they don't love what you've done, or they love it, or they would like it different. And I learned this early on. I'll never forget, I was at a shoot with Cindy Crawford, and I did her makeup, and she said, "I love it, great." And the hairdresser did her hair. And afterwards, she said, "Thank you, it's beautiful." And we left to go shoot on location. She said to the hairdresser, "Oh, you don't have to stay." Hairdresser left, and Cindy said to me, "Do you have a brush?" I said, "All right, I might." I gave it to her. She goes, "Oh my God, my hair." And she combed it out and fixed it. But she was so kind to this artist that clearly was a nervous wreck and did not do a great job. And I just thought, you know what, there's a way to treat people. And, I've never forgotten that she was like that. But you are okay to tell someone. And if you are a woman that goes to a counter and gets your makeup done and you don't like it, you don't want to waste your time. Just say, "You know what, it's too much." There's a way to say it. "It's too much for me. Could you show me how I could do it with less?" Just communicate.
Right, and I think it's a little bit of a change in topic, but I know because I've heard from many people that I know, when they're doing their makeup, they're maybe afraid to go in and change things because they think if they make a mistake, they have to start all over. Have you experienced that?
No, I mean, the only time I've started all over was when I realized how bad it was. I had a couple experiences early on in my makeup career where I was once hired to do a famous model, Kim Alexis, for a cover of, I think it was Glamour magazine. And we had to be ready for sunrise, which meant, 5:45. So we got up at 4:45. I met her in some dark room, did her makeup, and by the time the sun came up, I realized she looked awful. The colors were wrong and things weren't blended, and I literally had a 1 second to say, "Oh my God." And so I didn't have to wash her face, but I took a moisturizer with a sponge and I kind of took it all down and blended it, and I was able then to quickly build it up. And as an artist, there is a skill at doing things fast and figuring it out and visually looking and being present. For years when I would do fashion shows, the models would be late. We'd have to start. Anna would be in the front row or the editors would be there. And models would be coming in from the last show. And sometimes they come in with the most intense, dark, bright, awful makeup. And of course, I was hired to do a much more subtle job. And you have to quickly, 4 or 5 makeup artists attack, take the makeup off, get them ready. So you have to be insightful, you've got to be visually quick, and you've got to move on your feet and be focused.
Right, and when we talk about having to be quick in that way, Jessie had a question. What is your single best multi-purpose tool?
Right here, guys, my fingers. There's no question. If the foundation doesn't look right, I could put moisturizer on, I can go like this, I could do all that. If the blush doesn't look right, you could blend it in. But probably my best tool, which I keep in my kit, is this little teeny brush from a makeup artist from the UK named Ruby that has 3 different heads, fits together. It's in my purse. You could use it for your lips, for your eyes, for your brows. So I like things that you could do different things with.
Right, absolutely. And I brought up just a second ago about whether you need to start over or not. And I have another question here from Nancy, and she talks about every time she applies her eyeshadow, her eyes, she says, look more bruised than smoky. And so I wanted to get your opinion. What could be going wrong there, and how might Nancy fix that to get the look that she's going after?
Well, I think 2 things there. I first think that the color's wrong. So for something to look bruisey, it maybe has too much black in it, could have some red in it. Anything with red is going to make you look tired. It's going to make you look bruised. So make sure that the colors don't have red. And I'm not sure, Nancy, if you are putting colors that are too dark for your skin, because that could also go haywire, which is why when I teach the smoky eye, I teach this buildable way to do makeup. You start with the lightest, then you add the next lightest, then you add the next one until you get to the darkest. And it's layered, so it's blended. It's the opposite of blended. Blending is you take something really dark and fuzz it all down, and that's not always so easy for people. So if we start light and blend up, it's buildable, and I think that makes a big difference.
Right, and for anyone who hasn't seen Bobbi's masterclass yet, Bobbi breaks down how to apply the perfect smoky eye in her class, step by step. And I remember leaving the section of our shoot talking about the smoky eye